What's up, guys? It is monthly encasing time. I did not get a chance to do one last month, so we're going to combine April and May, but I need to get this out. So let's rank everything I saw in April and May. Let's go. What's up, guys? Welcome to the latest monthly encasing. Like I said before, for some reason, these videos don't do that well compared to like my normal new release reviews. Some of you told me that it's because I call it encasing, but I hate to like change the name now because I've been calling the last ones encasing. So we're just gonna stick with it, and maybe eventually they'll start picking up, all right? But I feel the need to do these, all right? Because they're really fun. I like doing rankings, and I like covering everything that I've watched throughout the year. So if you do like these, hit the like and hit the comment. I never asked to hit the like and comment, but I think in this case, it will help with the algorithm. So like, comment, subscribe, and you will almost never hear me say like, comment, subscribe. Nothing wrong with that. You gotta, you got to hate the player, not the game. You got to do the game just right. But yeah, I'm just me, and that's just the way I am. And I hate people asking people for anything, all right? But I'm not going to be including the two recent shark movies that I saw because technically they are in June, which is what I'm recording right now. So I will be including everything that I saw in April and May, everything. So if I saw like a classic type movie, it'll be on here too. Although I will tell you, I think there's only one that I watched. Most of the stuff I watched over the past couple months has been new stuff. So yeah. But I got 13 movies for you. I'm just going to really quickly give you my overall thoughts. But if you want to see the full reviews on all of these movies, be sure to check my 2025 review playlist that has all these movies, and you can get more in-depth thoughts on those, okay? Got 13 movies for you though, and number 13 is going to be Karate Kid Legends. Not surprised by this one at all, given the marketing for the movie. It just kind of was like crept upon us. It's pointless since we just had Cobra Kai, and they had a nice fitting conclusion in that whole thing. Cobra Kai was fun, not perfect, but fun. But this just feels completely unnecessary, and I think they just wanted to try to squeeze every bit of money they could out of that turnip. But this is just a straight up, almost like remake of the first movie. And I think they were just looking for a reason to get Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio together. But they both feel kind of shoehorned in, especially Ralph Macchio. And this movie just doesn't have the heart that the first couple of movies. And honestly, this is like the worst, or one of the worst Karate Kid movies out there. Number 12, we're going to go with Hell of a Summer. This was probably my biggest disappointment on this list because I'm a big slasher fan. And when I saw this trailer, I thought, wow, that's going to be amazing. I love camp slashers. It looked like it had a really fun vibe to it. But I think the movie couldn't find its footing in terms of comedy or horror. The slasher killer is just not memorable at all. Like, you will forget about who the killer was, 10 minutes after you leave the theater. And the characters just kind of felt half-baked, if I'm being honest. So, yeah, another movie that was just a big disappointment. Speaking of big disappointment, number 11 is Until Dawn. Another movie that when I saw the trailer, I was like, damn, that looks fun, and it looks like sort of a Happy Death Day type thing. I know this is based on a video game. My biggest gripe with Happy Death Day is they don't really show the kills, But this made me appreciate those movies more because they're actually very effective comedies. This one was just very generic. Everything about the movie was generic. I think the killers or the villains in the movie, they felt generic. Nothing really stood out about this movie, and it's a shame because David F. Sandberg, I think, directed this, who usually puts out good stuff. But this was just a big miss for me. Okay, top 10. Number 10 is Wake Up. This one's okay. I think this is where we start getting into stuff that I liked about some of these movies. Wake Up's interesting because the whole thing takes place in like a department store, a furniture store, and you have these kids that are activists, protesters, and they're trying to make a statement against the government, the man, whatever, and they just happen to all be completely unlikable assholes. And so that's the downfall of this movie. And then you got this security guard who gets kind of stuck in the middle of it all, and he is the killer. That's not it's not set up like a twist or anything. That's established in the movie. He was sort of interesting. I think this did have some like fun moments in it, some fun kills. I think they really needed to beef up the characters, making you like them. I don't think that all of them are bad. I think, once you get down to like the last act, we're left with the better characters. You know, luckily they kill off the ones that are completely insufferable. Had a couple cool moments too. But yeah, overall just kind of a movie that you will definitely forget about by 2026. Number 9, Clown in a Cornfield. Another one, God, I hate to sound like a broken record, but another one I wanted to love. You know, it looked like such a fun little clown horror movie. You know, Art really set a standard for clown horror. And he has his own lane because it's very different than the Pennywise lane, which is more of a supernatural type thing. But, you know, you give me a slasher clown, that should be a no-brainer. But I think the big thing that gets in the way of this movie is the twist that just gets way too up its own ass. And I think it's just too convoluted, the twist in this movie. You know, and it sort of reminded me, I'll say it in here, it reminded me of like the twist in Hot Fuzz, okay? I'll just say that, all right? It's not really, I don't know. Call it a spoiler, I don't know. But it reminded me of what they were doing in Hot Fuzz. I'll probably put a light spoiler blinker before we get to this part. So I'm talking to myself in the past right now, okay? Number 8, Drop. Drop was fine for exactly what it was. It's fun when we get to follow characters that are just put in a situation that they do not want to be in whatsoever. I think where this movie's gonna have problems with people is logic. This main character is put in situations where a lot of you are gonna be throwing stuff at the screen saying, why are you doing that? I often defend those movies because human nature, we don't know how we're gonna react in a situation. We say, yeah, I would do A, B, and C, but you might do X, Y, and Z. You have no idea. So that's where I'll cut this movie a little bit of slack. It was a fun little thriller. You know, this is definitely not a horror movie. It's more on the thriller side of things. But yeah, it was okay. It was just okay. Guys, allow me to cut in here real quick. There are 2 movies, I can't believe this, 2 movies that I forgot to put on here. Usually I update my letterbox as I go, but I guess I forgot to put them on here. And I definitely need to put them on here so I don't forget. And I think they're both similar in terms of like ranking. So I'm just gonna put them right here, okay, right here. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one is going to be Fear Street Prom Queen. I was excited for another Fear Street movie. I loved the last trilogy. I loved how different they are. And that is a cool thing about this one is it's the 80s movie of the bunch. It's set at prom, and it's a cool thing that it's actually like 90% or maybe like 75% set at the prom. And I think it's just a fun high school type of slasher. Most predictable freaking third act ever as far as like calling the killer. You will probably call the killer in this movie, okay? Like, I don't know what they're doing these days with killer reveals, but they're really screwing it up. I just reviewed this movie called The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. This is how you set up a third act and a killer and making it a surprise. They do a good job. So be sure to check out that review. It's coming soon. But other than that, you know, it's a serviceable slasher movie. It's not even the worst of the Fear Street movies, I think, but it's fun. It's fun. So yeah, that's the first one. Okay, the next movie is Thunderbolts, or The New Avengers. I cannot believe I forgot to mention this movie during this. This was like a big movie for the beginning of May. And you know what? I thought this was really refreshing compared to everything that we've gotten. The MCU has gotten so overstuffed, so overbloated, and Phase 4 and 5 have really screwed themselves. And I think this was a nice little side quest type movie with characters that we might not remember as much outside of Bucky, I guess. But it was fun. I had a good time, and I like that this one dared to go deep a little bit in terms of like mental health and having a good reason for it, because Sentry, you know, that's part of his power set, his skill set, I guess. And Sentry's like a godlike type character. So you were wondering, like, how in the hell are they going to fight this guy, right? But yeah, it was really fun, and a lot of funny moments in the movie as well. I think it balanced comedy and drama really well. So yeah, I had a good time with Thunderbolts. Okay, so I'm just wanted to get these in here, wanted to give you the production and everything still. So yeah, there that is. And before I go, I actually have my Hit the Bricks podcast t-shirt. Davey Deathray designed this. You can get this. I'll put a link in the info box, and you can also get it on his channel. You can get it on the second channel where I put all those Hit the Bricks clips. But yeah, the shirt is really cool. And, you know, it's inspired by Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So anyway, back to the countdown. Number 7, Fight or Flight. I'm always rooting for Josh Hartnett, and he is really a very capable action star. That's what this movie is. It is an action movie, sort of like Bullet Train, except he's on a plane. And the gimmick is everybody on the plane is there to kill him. And that's just fun. And they take advantage of that and they execute. And it's very effective. And I think this was a movie that he needed after Trap, because Trap, in my opinion, was horrible. And it wasn't Josh Hartnett's fault. It was just the story was stupid. Whereas this is more of like a comfort zone for him. Although I would love Josh Hartnett to come back to like true horror. That'd be really cool. I would love, like, if they made another Halloween movie with John Tate, I would be for that. I think that'd be cool. But he kicks major ass in this movie. Okay, number 6, we're going to sidestep here a little bit. And I'm going to say Friday the 13th Part 3. I did a full revisited for this movie. I think it's over like 25 minutes long. Definitely check it out. Had a lot to say about it. But I always have fun with Friday Part 3. I like the 3D aspect of it. I love Richard Brooker. The characters have a lot of charm. And it's a unique movie in the franchise, and it's really, really fun. Number 5 is Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. This was really a great final closing chapter to the Mission Impossible franchise. It's not the best movie of the bunch. I do think it depends a little bit too much on member berries in the first like 20 minutes of the movie. But once it finds its footing, it never lets up, and more importantly, Tom Cruise is just a bona fide action god, okay? And this movie is no different. He always does some sort of death-defying stunt in every one of these movies, and they're always fun to sit back and watch. These are great popcorn movies. Top 4, and boy, these top 4 are probably going to be in the top 10 end of year list. They had some really great movies over the past couple months. Number 4 is Final Destination: Bloodlines. Wow, way to come back 14 years later with a unique premise that's different than the rest of the movies, and giving us, I think, 2 of the better kills of the entire franchise. And then also you got really fun characters that are introduced in here, which Final Destination isn't really known for the characters that much. I think the best characters were like in the first 2 movies. But this one had a pair of characters that you would love to like take a side quest with in like a buddy comedy. They would have been great. But yeah, they were really fun. And one of them, I think it's Eric is his name in the movie, he gets probably the best kill out of the movie. Number 3, Ugly Stepsister. This was probably the biggest surprise of the year for me. I knew that this one was going to get under my skin, which it did. Taking an old fairy tale of Cinderella and going from the point of view of one of the stepsisters, kind of like what they're doing in Wicked right now. Let's tell the story of the ugly stepsister, one of the stepsisters. And boy, does this movie go into some uncomfortable territory. And it's a great metaphor for, you know, body image, self-image, you know, and this character, she wants to look beautiful because she wants to get with the prince. You can get so lost in your quest for perfection that it can change you as a person. And that's what it does. Sort of similar to what they did in The Substance. And I think this might be every bit as good as The Substance. Maybe not quite, but still very, very effective. Number 2, Bring Her Back. The Filippo brothers are back. I loved Talk to Me. That might have been my favorite movie of the year that it came out. This is one of the best movies of the year. And talk about a movie that is not afraid to go dark. We talked about this on the last Hit the Bricks too. And the clip that I clipped out got like 5,000 views talking about horror movies that just are dark and heavy and what is our like fascination with them. And it seems like, especially this current age of horror, it seems like most of the big horror movies these days are of this nature, of just very dark, very heavy. And this also has sort of a Pet Sematary type vibe to it, but very different in tone from that movie, although that one's dark as well. I think this is where the Pet Sematary remake failed. Like, if they could have rearranged the story here to make it more like the original, more of a remake of the original, this would have been, I think, the perfect remake of that type of movie. But that's not taking anything away from how genius the movie is on its own. And, you know, it's polarizing. There's a lot of people that don't like this movie. And I knew that going on. I said, this is not going to be for everyone. But I freaking loved it. And number one, Sinners, a movie that I think everybody loves. This movie will probably get nominated for an Oscar. It's that well directed by Ryan Coogler. The story is great. It's a fun vampire movie. This movie just has so much. And, you know, it's not that often that you get epic horror movies, you know, and this movie just feels epic. It feels big. Every frame of this movie feels like, you know, $1 million. Seeing this in like IMAX was just glorious. But yeah, this will go down as one of the best movies of the year, not just horror. It is phenomenal. And it'll probably remain my number one spot throughout the rest of the year. I'll be shocked if anything dethrones Sinners. It's that great. All right, guys, we did it. That's the ranking for April and May. Let me know down in the comments your thoughts. Give me your ranking for the movies that you saw. Looking forward to hearing them. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums on my socials, support me on Patreon, become a channel member, buy me a coffee. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching every day, and Drumdum out.